Toledo Rockets are coming off one of their most complete games of the season as we welcome in Mike Robinson. You see him every weekend right here on BCSN, as well as you hear him on the radio as the sideline reporter for the Rocket Radio Network. And Mike, Rob, thank you for being here with us tonight, as this is a Rocket team that really had a complete game against the Broncos last week.
Absolutely. First off, thanks for having me, Mark, each and every week. This is a joy to do, but it's a joy to watch the Rockets win, too. You know, we got to see that this weekend, and you talk about a complete game. Daquan Finn got to complete his second full complete game as a starting quarterback. You saw some things out of him. You saw the splashes. You saw the big plays, and you seen him make a little bit smarter plays. He only got sacked 3 times, and the offensive line came out way much more improved, which made this offensive unit for the Rockets look really good so far versus Western Michigan.
And we saw the defense, which has been so good at not allowing points. Not only did they not allow points to Western, but they scored themselves a big scoop and score for the Rockets in that win.
Yeah, big-time defense wins championships, and you know the defense ratcheted up at halftime. Vince Karras and his unit, always in the second half of a game, they find a way to step up, even in the games that they've lost. This week you saw Zach Ford scoop that football up, take it all the way to the end zone, igniting that defense. They're just out there having fun. And Desjuan Johnson, you got to talk about him being the MAC West Player of the Week. Stepped up. He had about 6 tackles, 5 solos, 1 sack, 2 behind the line of scrimmage. He had a game to remember. He's going to definitely take the game ball and frame that thing, because that Toledo defense, when they get going, they're one of the best in the country, and for sure one of the best in the MAC.
We saw some spectacular catches in that game from the Toledo wide receivers, but it was a costly victory for UT. Bryce Mitchell, the Bowser product, knee injury, he is done for the season.
Yeah, you know, it's unfortunate to watch, you know, being able to coach Bryce in high school and watching him make the transition to college. You know, it's been a great ride for that young man. He had nearly 1,300 yards in his career, and he had 11 touchdown receptions. You know, Bryce had a phenomenal career at Toledo, but it's not all done for that young man. He's got a bright future in front of him. He's going to play in the NFL. You can bet that. And you talked about big catches. You got to mention Denzel McKinley-Lewis's catch on the sideline as well. He pulled it right through the defender's arms, and that's what veteran leadership does. You know, this is a football team that's going to have to bounce back to the loss of Bryce Mitchell, but you're going to have to step up with Landry's and Winstead. They also have big-time playmakers that are young freshmen like Thomas Zyros.
We are in late October, so the Rockets are now pivoting into the midweek MACtion portion of the schedule. They don't play on Saturday, they play on Tuesday. They've gone through this for a number of years now, but I think it still is a little bit of a hiccup every time you go to playing on Saturday to playing on a Tuesday, playing on a Wednesday, playing on another Tuesday. But they do have this transition with having this Saturday off as they get ready for the next home game on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday against Eastern.
Yeah, you know, it messes the week up. You know, you get used to having a certain standard. Now you can't really worry about the dates of the calendar, whether it's a Monday or Wednesday, but you do, because you're a student athlete. You still got to go to class. You still got to go through your day-to-day routine. Some of these guys have jobs and have families and things they got to attend to. So your week gets pushed around a little bit. You don't have the luxury of having a Saturday game, but having that Tuesday game, it shifts. This is what it's about. When you came to Toledo, when you came and played to play in the MAC, you knew that MACtion was what it was about. When you get in this time of year, you got to win it. And for the Rockets, they have a favorable schedule if they can squeak past Eastern Michigan. So it's about locking in and focusing up, because if they come playing football like they played last weekend, they can do some damage the rest of the way out.
Now, you mentioned the path ahead for UT, as they are 2 games back of Northern Illinois in the MAC West. So if they're going to get back to Detroit for the MAC championship game, they're going to need to get some help. They're going to take care of business themselves, obviously. But you look at the rest of the MAC West, you got Northern Illinois ahead of everybody else, but then it's a tight group right behind Northern Illinois. So maybe there are some upsets out there for the Huskies that could help out the Rockets.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're going to need a little bit of help from their friends, well, foes in this matter. But the Rockets got to help themselves more importantly, because the only thing they can control is the controllable, and that's winning football games. And one thing that they did last time they played, was they got 100 yards on the ground with Kovac. He's only been able to see two games this season with 100 yards plus. You know, and that's something that's not really known for the Rockets football running backs. Typically, these guys are gaining more yards. So as the offensive line continuously gets better, they had a little shuffling around, and that's the weak part of the team, right? And as they continue to get better there, the tight ends were able to block, able to get to the edge. Daquan Finn now is feeling more comfortable. You think that the Rockets are going to be able to hold their own on the way out. Now, like I said, you need everybody else in the conference to lose. You need them to beat up each other. But again, the most important thing is just to take care of business, win your home games, and win the rest of the schedule and not lose to Bowling Green, because that's a game where all the records are thrown out, but it still matters a lot in the MAC West race.
A lot more on that Rocket-Falcon matchup coming up in the days and weeks ahead, but let's focus on the next game for UT. Rockets with plenty of momentum going into the Tuesday night contest, but Eastern Michigan also with plenty of momentum as the Eagles looked very good last Saturday in blowing out Bowling Green at Deutsch Perry.
Yeah, absolutely, and you saw how electric their offense was. But let's take it a week before that. You saw Western Michigan offense light up Kent State. What did it matter to the Toledo defense? Not much. You know, they were able to have their season lows rushing the ball and passing the ball. Although Sky Moore was able to get 120 yards and catching some phenomenal catches, he did an excellent job. Give credit to where it's done. But at the same time, you can't worry about what the other team's going to do, because right now the Toledo defense is just dominant. And I tell you, that's something that's not to take slightly. You look at the young guys on this football team and how they're continuing to just get better. The Jackson Burrows of the world. You like how they're going. You like where they're going with this team and the unit. One thing I tell you, Mark, is Womack. This is a kid in the secondary that is just continuously being special. And Justin Clark, he's another young guy that's been here for a while. He had to sit the bench, and he stepped up in a big way last week. So they're finding their leaders as some of the veterans are able to step up as the season goes on, as the young guys kind of find their ways, maybe hit some hiccups. They have the veterans on this team. I wouldn't worry so much about stopping another team's offense as the way they were able to stop the Broncos. The only thing they have to worry about is just continuously getting better on the offensive side of the ball. The defense is going to play their part. You saw special teams, Clucky's back to form, and Bailey Flint, the big leg everybody loves. He's out here doing his job with some great pinpoint punts. And now the offense has to continue to not to struggle and do their part.
And we'll have much more on Bailey Flint coming up later this month on Rocket Roundup. Another interesting thing about Eastern Michigan, to no surprise, Ypsilanti not that far from Northwest Ohio. Plenty of local players from our area who are up with the Eagles and really doing a pretty good job for Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, you talk about Dooley and Haney, and you talk about even in the past, guys like Roback. But one thing you know is another guy from Northeast Ohio who has a little ties here is Dylan Drummond. That's been Bryant's favorite target in the pass game, as well as Hassan Beydoun. But, you know, Mikey Haney, he doesn't have all the tight tackles that he wants right now, but he's going to continuously get better every time the Rockets play against him. You know that he gets lit up because all of his fans from local hometowns are going to step up. They're going to come out here and support. But the key thing is to this. The Rockets just have to make sure they don't let these local hometown guys get going while back at the Glass Bowl.
Rockets and Eagles next Tuesday night under the lights as MACtion is back, and we thank Mike Robinson for spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me.